I'm back, and we're going to recap everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks without a recap video. Yes, we did a video talking about 75 Hard. My monitor's just turned off. I have some stuff to read off there, so let me get those back on real quick. We have a lot to talk about beyond the 75 Hard conversation we had in the last video, which, by the way, thank you for the comments and the support on that. That means a lot. That was a tough video to make, and this one also as well. We have a lot to go over and a lot to cover, and hopefully we're back into daily videos moving here on out. My apologies for that and the disruption in that, as these last couple weeks have been kind of crazy. So without further ado though, welcome in. My name is Ian. This is the Weight Loss Transformation series here on the YouTube channel. It's been a little bit since I've talked to a camera, so excuse me stuttering over my own words. But this is the transformation series where I talk about weigh-ins, measurements, nutrition, workouts, anything that's going on in life, and try to do recaps on a daily basis. Usually it's been a daily basis for, I don't know, 95% of the year up until 2 weeks ago, where I was out of town for an entire week, week and a day. And then the last week has just been really chaotic as I'm getting back into things, and I gotta make sure that I'm getting my habits back in straight and getting back onto doing things the way we were doing it before we left. So without further ado, I'm just gonna jump into the entire thing. So I do have a list up on a monitor right now of everything. I went day by day and tried to remember as best as possible what I did for workouts, what I did in general during that day, what I ate, anything like that, because like I said, it has been 2 weeks. So just starting things off in the why, and we talked about this in the last video before I left for the trip. I was on a week-long trip down in Dallas, Texas, for work. I got hired out, I got contracted to do some production for an esports event, for a collegiate esports event down there, which was an amazing time. I had a blast, saw so many friends, colleagues, new faces, got to meet some awesome people, work with some really nice and amazing people. And yeah, we were down there for a week. We left Monday morning. We got back Monday afternoon, the following week after that. So to jump into that entire week real quick, so that Monday heading on down, that was on 4/28, so April 28th. We flew on down. That flight, like I said, was earlier in the morning that day, so we got down there. I want to say our plane landed around 1, and then like 1 local time in Dallas, which is obviously an hour behind here on the East Coast where I am located. So that's where we got things off for the day. Now, originally that was that technically still is a non-contracted day for me, where I'm not required to do any work, but I'm working with a lot of good friends and colleagues, so I decided to go in and help them out and do a little bit of work at the venue, because that was the start of setup. So that was unloading trucks, putting computers in the right spots, setting those up, and just a lot of manual labor throughout the day, which it was fun. We didn't do too much because obviously it's a travel day. We were there for about 5 hours, and then we headed back over to the hotel. At the hotel, that was our first time being there, did a little exploration. The hotel gym, by the way, the best hotel gym I've seen in a while. Nothing amazing, but definitely better than so many other hotel gyms. We were at the Drury in Dallas-Fort Worth, in that area, so to go over everything in there, so when I talk through the workouts, it makes a little bit more sense. There were 3 treadmills, an elliptical or 2. There was a lat pull down and row cable machine. There was next to that a leg press, and then there was an incline bench machine, and then a dual hamstring curl quad extension leg machine, and then 2 benches and dumbbells, which only went up to 35 pounds, which is unfortunate. We're lifting plenty over that for a lot of our heavier workouts, so sad they weren't going up to like 50s or anything like that, but I can't complain with what we had there. There was a pool at the hotel, did not get to use it. Sadly, the hours we worked and the hours the pool were open did not go hand in hand. We were getting back to the hotel at like 11 p.m. most days, which we'll get into here in a sec, but we were at the hotel, ate dinner there. That dinner, they had a little like buffet style. It was a weird dinner, kind of like picked out things that fit into better eating for me. There was it was mashed potatoes and gravy and stuff like that, but I'm like, I can't have that. So there were meatballs. I don't know what kind of meatballs they were. They were good. I assume like a chicken or a turkey, a light meatball that went with the mashed potatoes and the gravy. Literally just loaded up on those, which is just a bunch of protein. There was a veggie soup, which I had some of that, and then steamed vegetables and a hot dog to finish it all out. So that was our meal for the day, honestly. I didn't eat leading up to that point, and that is all we ate for the day. Solid meal, not terrible. Then we did go back to the venue. Dude, this computer's turning off again. So we did go into the venue and chilled there. Did a little more, well, I say chilled. We did more labor work and then did all that. Got back to the hotel around 10, which was like our earliest day getting back, and decided to hit the hotel gym. That was our push day. So we used the benches, did start off with incline dumbbell. After that, God, I got to remember what exactly we did. After that, I know I did a dumbbell fly on the bench as well. After that, I tried to use the cable machine to my best. I did a tricep push downs on that. It's not made for that at all, but it worked. Got it done. Then I did some skull crushers as well, and that was pretty much all we could really do in terms of weights. Oh, sorry. Then I did lat raises as well. So that was it. Sorry if that made noise on the mic. So that was our workout for the day there, and then did half an hour, no, actually no, 45 minutes of cardio on the treadmill, 7.5 incline, 2.5 speed. It's the same treadmills they have at my gym, so used to those, and that was nice. So after that, moving on to Tuesday, Tuesday was a long day. Up at 7:30, at the venue at 8 when doors opened, and we worked all dang day, moving things, setting things up. I had over 20,000 steps in the day, so that is a crazy amount of work, motion-wise, throughout the day. As for food, food was provided to us, and it's not the healthiest food ever, but it was good food, and with how much work we were doing, definitely needed it, especially with not eating like it all the day before. So our lunch was Raising Cane's. I just had a bunch of chicken tenders and a thing of coleslaw and a little bit of cane sauce in there. Tried to stay away from the fries and the bread as best I could. Still had a little bit of those, but not a lot. And that was our lunch. Didn't eat too much, just had my one serving. They ordered like 200 chicken fingers, which from Cane's is like 6 of their tubs of chicken fingers. I could have just been sitting there eating forever, and it was so hard not to, but obviously we're trying to lose weight, not gain it, and a bunch of chicken isn't going to help our case there. And then, yeah, like I said, just work throughout the day. And then for dinner, Chipotle. Really nice, simple dinner. I got a chicken bowl, and my usual go-to, for anybody who doesn't know me, my go-to order, Chipotle, white rice, fajitas, black beans, chicken, and then corn, sour cream, lettuce. Ta-da. Stayed away from the cheese because obviously, like, sour cream and cheese, I love both. They're both high in calories. I chose one. I chose the sour cream. And that was the dinner for the day. Got back to the hotel again. Went to the gym late at night. That was our pull day. So used the lat pull down, used the row, and then did some shrugs as well, which with lighter weights was kind of hard. Really just did a lot of reps in those. And then, again, a lot of cardio because there's a limited amount of things we can do at the gym for a pull day. And we covered, biceps. It's a pull day. We did biceps. So I did inside hammer curls, and then I did bicep curls. So yes, we did biceps as well. Excuse me on that. So yeah, and then 45 minutes of cardio again, and that wrapped up that day. Moving on to Wednesday. This was our last setup day before we had to do a lot of work. And again, 15,000 steps on that day. A bit less than the day before, even though we were there earlier. We were out of the hotel at 7 a.m. And we do broadcasts, so a lot of it was more sitting down after we got all of our stuff set up, and then like the steps slowly decrease throughout the week of this trip. And that is where we sat there. For lunch, it was pizza. I missed the pizza. I only got like one slice. It was a slice of Domino's pizza that was super tiny. So I really didn't eat lunch that day, which was fine. Obviously, we're not eating as well, so a little bit lower on the intake is going to balance out the extensive calories. For dinner, though, that day, it was barbecue, and Texas barbecue, you can't compete with it. I had brisket and a jalapeno cheddar kielbasa, that along with some fries and toast. And then, yeah, that was dinner. Obviously, again, not healthy there, but we didn't eat much during the day, so the calories kind of balance each other out. And then wrapped up that day, our last setup day, with another day in the gym. That was leg day. That was starting off on the leg press, did full leg press with that, and then did calf extensions on it. So that covered both those bases, and then we did the quad extensions and the hamstrings. My buddy I was working out with wanted to do Bulgarian split squats. I killed my legs up to that point. I was not trying to do that, so we didn't end up doing that, and just did cardio to wrap things out. For that, it was just cardio watching hockey for me, because NHL playoffs. Dude, the Stars were playing. I'm so sad I couldn't go to that game. I'm going to turn on a random YouTube video. So sorry if I'm looking above the camera. I'm looking at the monitor behind it. I'm just going to play a random YouTube video on my phone to just let this thing chill, and I don't have to worry about it. Okay. My screen shouldn't turn off anymore. So yeah, then we went into work mode. Thursday, crazy day again, but this is like streaming throughout the whole day. So most of the day I'm sitting on my butt, because we're doing broadcasts. Granted, I'm running around and fixing some things. Whenever I need to get water, I have to go and run and grab water from like the other side of the venue. Not ideal, but I had a water bottle with me, so it kind of worked out. Did not end up getting lunch that day. Completely missed it. And yeah, so there was that. And then for dinner, we tried Whataburger. I'm sorry, Texas, Whataburger's not it. At least the one we had, that was not good at all. Was not a fan of that. So that was it for that day. Kind of simple. Again, we were in at 7 a.m., out at 11:30 that night. Oh, sorry, no, back to the hotel at 11, not 11:30. That night, which is a super late night. Immediately got back, and I'm not going to lie, didn't get to the gym, just passed out in the hotel. I was exhausted, fully got a night's sleep there. And then moving on to Friday, another fun day, another day of streams. So again, lower on the step counter. For these days, I looked back at my step count. It was sitting between 5 and 10,000 on those days. For a majority of them, probably sitting around that 6 to 7 mark. We had some days a little bit higher than that. For lunch, we got at lunch that time. It was a turkey and cheese sandwich, which yummy, did its job. Bag of chips, and then the only drinks they had outside of water was like soda. Not a soda fan. They had cookies. I had half of a cookie and gave the rest to a buddy. Cause like, dude, I don't know what it is about like this diet, highly sugar and chocolatey things. I just don't love them right now. Like I was sitting there, I wanted a bowl of fruit. I wanted nothing else than a bowl of fruit. Unfortunately, a bowl of fruit wasn't an option, but it definitely not a cookie. So yeah, that was that. And then for dinner, we got out earlier today. We got out around 9:30. Went out to a bar slash restaurant. I ended up getting a Nashville hot chicken sandwich with fries, and that was my dinner. And then had a couple beers with friends down there and colleagues, and then that was that night. Nashville chicken sandwich, it wasn't the greatest, I can't lie, but it was non-breaded, which was really weird, getting a Nashville hot chicken not breaded. But it was a grilled chicken, which is what I want, but it was still coated in hot sauce. And that was that meal for that day. I'm trying to go through these days a little quicker because we have a lot to catch up on. And then moving on to Saturday. Saturday, again, another early day, 7 a.m. in there. Lunch, I half missed lunch. I got in, and it's like the guy overseeing all of us, who's a close friend of mine now, a colleague, was sitting there. I know I just use close friend and colleague at the same time. Sorry. But we were sitting there, and like there's no food left. It just ran out, and he's like, here, take the rest of his, which was half of his sandwich. They were cut in half, so he only had half of it, and then a little rice cucumber salad is the best way I can describe it, which wasn't bad at all. It was solid. Ended up eating that, and that was the lunch for the day. After that, let me get to the right day. Then we went and got, oh my gosh, I'm looking at the wrong things. Yeah, for dinner, did not get dinner. Again, completely missed out on it. We were just like, the stream's live during dinner time. So obviously we can't run off and ignore that and go get food, which is unfortunate, but we were going out that night anyways. So it is what it is. So ended up getting back to the hotel, honestly. Actually, no, we didn't go straight to the hotel. Getting done at around 10. Went out around 10:30. 10:30. Went out at 11. Was out for a while. It's a place called Texas Live in Fort Worth. Or Arlington, sorry, not Fort Worth. Crazy place. Insane. There's no other way of putting it. Drinks were aplenty. Ended up nicking 2 slices of a buddy's pizza, and it was a small little personal pizza, and that was my dinner for the day. Obviously a little beverage calorie count to go with that. Nothing too crazy though, not going hard on like thick beer or anything. It was mostly liquor. like a vodka soda or something is usually my go-to, and then obviously there's the occasional tequila shot. So that was that day, and then ended up going back to the hotel around 2 a.m., which we had to be up again at 7 a.m. the next day. Not the smartest decision on my end, but definitely worth it looking back on it. Just the time spent with friends, the fun I had, especially meeting new people. Like, we sat in a circle, and this might be the nerdy thing about these types of events. We sat in a circle and just argued about Star Wars for an hour and a half. There's some very passionate voices on that council. So we were just sitting there drinking, talking, having fun, and arguing about Star Wars. Which moves us into Sunday, the last day of this event for us. Our flight was early the next day, stream again that day, but no lunch yet again. Ended up missing it, which I'm going to be honest, was not feeling lunch that day. Throughout these days, something I haven't mentioned is that we did end up like snacking on other things. Like Takis was a sponsor for the event. They had literally like infinite bags of Takis. So like every day I'd probably grab 1 or 2 bags of Takis to just snack on throughout the day, especially on the days where I was missing, and trying to get as much water in as possible. But yeah, that was the start of Sunday. For dinner, got dinner, really good dinner. Big fan of the dinner we got. It was barbecue chicken and rice with a side salad and corn on the cob. And for dessert, it was bread pudding. Texas knows how to do bread pudding. That was delicious. But yeah, that was a bigger dinner for the day, and that wrapped up the food for then. Then we hung out. Everything wrapped up for the event. We had some drinks to celebrate, and then teardown began, which was a little bit of hard work for us. 3 hours, I think, after the event ended, we were there doing some teardown, got a bunch of steps in. After that, we went out to Cane's at 1 a.m. For our wrap-up meal for the event, and people just love Cane's. It's delicious. I can't complain. Ended up getting a box combo, which I think is 3 strips, fries, coleslaw, and toast. So that was the meal to wrap things up for that. And then it was on to travel day. Now, we did not sleep between Sunday and Monday. Our flight was 6 a.m. 6 a.m. flight, not a huge fan. So we just ended up pulling an all-nighter, got down to the hotel lobby around 3:45, ordered an Uber. My Uber decided to stop at a Bojangles and not move for 25 minutes. So my Uber wasn't coming. I had to cancel the Uber. Thankfully, one of the guy that actually gave me this opportunity to get contracted for this event, pulled up. They had just gotten done with their wrap-up dinner. And he's like, actually, no, wrap-up. I think it was night out after wrap-up dinner. Obviously, it's 3 a.m. There's no way they're just eating. But he's like, hey, I can give you guys a ride. Don't worry about it. My lifesaver. Shout out Kyler. And then we ended up going over to the airport, getting on the flight, and that day is just blank in my mind. I closed my eyes. We were in the air. I closed my eyes. We were landing, and then we were at the airport. Landed in Baltimore. 2-hour drive back to here for me. So then we got into a car. A buddy was great enough to drive us back. Closed my eyes. Was back in town for food that day. Ended up taking him out. I'm like, whatever fast food, whatever meal you want. You just drove us 2 hours. I'm happy to pay whatever meal you want. So we ended up going to Wendy's and grabbing some food. I just doubled up the order. I'm like, just 2 Baconators meals, and that was it. Mine was a water, so Baconator, fries, water. Ate that, got back to the apartment, realized I locked myself out because I didn't bring my keys because I wasn't driving to the hotel, not to the hotel, to the airport. It's like, oops. So I had to call my property manager. She's amazing. She let me in, and then I laid down and slept. Slept until 1 a.m., woke up, was up until about 3 a.m., fell asleep again, woke up at 1 p.m., and we're on Tuesday. No workouts were to be had on Monday. Unlucky. Nothing I can do there. I was just exhausted and really needed that sleep. Had some of the most vivid dreams of my life. No exaggeration. It was crazy, and like I can understand. My brain was like, what's going on, man? But yeah, that is our trip in a whole. Now we still have a week to catch up to today. We'll try to go through that a little faster because that is 20 minutes of me talking about that intro week. This past week has been a struggle for me to get to the camera. I'm not gonna lie. One, because it was just taken up. This isn't my camera, it's one I use from work, but it was being used for some class projects, so I didn't have access to it for a couple days. And then I just didn't get around to making a video, and getting myself back into the habit of making videos is difficult, but here we are. So, going on to Tuesday, stayed home and did some outdoor cardio. It was a beautiful day. The weather has been amazing up until this week. It is raining every single day this week, absolutely pouring. I'm surprised you haven't heard any thunder so far. We've been lucky with that timing. There was like a minute span of straight thunder. Beside the point, back to Tuesday. Did a little cardio, then went into work. We had a stream later at night. Did that, ended up coming home. And for that, I'm trying to remember what I did for food. So I did after the broadcast, went to the grocery store, got some groceries, made a new meal prep. I'll touch on that in a second, but got home, made some eggs and pancakes, protein pancakes, of course. And a little bit of cheese in the eggs, and that was our dinner. Meanwhile, I put into the crock pot a recipe that my roommate has been making a lot, and it smells so good, and it's high protein, and it's good for you. Well, good, not the best for you, but pretty good for you. I'm not super hard on my macros right now because I know as long as I'm in a caloric deficit, as long as I'm getting in protein, those are the goals with the meals. We can be a little stingy on calories if we need to, but so I got a London broil, I think is the cut of meat, something like that, which is a lower fat than a lot of the other big chunks of meat you can buy. Red meat, of course, is beef. Threw that in the crock pot, 2 cups of water, a pack of bone broth, low sodium bone broth, and then a pack of ranch seasoning, and then a pack of Italian seasoning. A little bit high in the sodium, try to get the low sodium options where I could, but my roommate's been making it. She recommended it to me. I'm like, okay, I got to do that. As well with that, kind of made it into a bit of a stew. Chopped up some little potatoes, put those in, chopped up some carrots and celery, threw those in, and let that sit overnight in the crock pot for like 10 hours. Got up the next morning, threw that all into some meal prep, and then, yeah, by the way, delicious. I highly recommend. Like literally just shreds, like meat just shreds, and it's juicy and it's delicious. So yeah, that is Tuesday night and what we did there. As for Wednesday, again, it was another relaxed day for me. It was 2 instances of cardio for me, which is just like the walk/jogs around the apartment complex, 30 to 45 minutes on those each, and then had one of those meal preps that I just talked about making, and pretty simple day. It was a work from home day, regaining from the trip and all. So then we move on to Thursday, and I have to scroll down on my sheet. That is how much I wrote down because I don't remember. Well, I do remember, but like I don't want to sit here having to remember everything with you guys. So Thursday was 1 instance of cardio outside, and then did get back into the gym. Did get a nice little, what day was it? It was a fill day for Thursday, and then got that in. Went into work, and we had a little other stream later at night. Got done with that, honestly, at like 11:30. No, sorry, 10:30. Sorry. My brain's a little screwy. Got done with that 10:30. The Thursday tradition is to go out to Buffalo Wild Wings. They didn't have wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. So I ended up just getting chips and queso, and that was my second meal of the day. Not super healthy, a little bit snacky. Could be better with that, I'll be honest. But if there were chicken wings, I would have had the chicken wings with a dry rub, and it would have been healthier. Just saying. But yeah, moving on to Friday, we then went into the gym yet again. Did a pull day, and those are pretty normal pull days at the actual gym. So that is starting with lat pull downs, then I actually moved to a rear delt after because it was open, and then did some pullovers. Then I did cable bicep, and then inside hammer curl on the dumbbell, and shrugs, and that wrapped up that day with 30 minutes of cardio. Quick little run through on that. And then moving on to Friday, I decided, you know what, my beef meal prep is better with rice. So I made up some rice, and definitely a better addition to it, even though it's a little higher on the carb side of things with already having like potatoes and stuff. But it was good, and getting those macros in. So Friday, Friday. I'm losing my days right now. I can't remember which one I just talked about. Friday was a pull day in the gym, and then a little bit of outside cardio. After I didn't do cardio at the gym, so I felt like I kind of had to do a little outdoor cardio, which is the 2 workouts, I guess. But wanted to get that in. Saturday then was leg day. Got through that nice and easy. My legs were sore from doing a lot more running. My shins are not a fan of running because I'm a bigger fella landing on my feet. It is what it is. And then again had the same meal prep. Moving on to Sunday. Sunday I woke up not feeling good, like at all. And that kind of went through Monday and today. I think it's just a little thing going around. I don't know if it's allergies. I don't know if it's a little cold or something or a flu going around. But didn't feel great and did just outside cardio. Yet again, only one instance of that, around 45 minutes. Like, I have a good loop going around my apartment. And then not the smartest decision on meals for me ended up for lunch, because it's a great idea to do. McDonald's just released some chicken tenders. I'm curious how those taste. Not super healthy, not super terrible. They're McDonald's chicken. So had that, and then I did make a new set of meal prep, which is a breakfast burrito high protein meal prep, which I saw on TikTok. Actually, the guy who made it, I forget his but he's a. If you ever see a guy with cool Tupperware making a high protein meal prep, it's probably that guy. Really good recipe, a little bit of hash brown, ground turkey, eggs whites. What else? Dude, my brain. Cheese, cottage cheese, stuff like that. And that all goes into that. Wrapped up, nice little breakfast burrito meal prep, and then had one of those for dinner. Moving into Monday, which was yesterday. I can remember yesterday. Did 2 instances of our outdoor cardio. Feeling a little better yesterday. Did go into work earlier, so went into work. Did one at work. Actually did a little, there's a pond on campus, so did a couple laps around that. And then came home. Actually, no, didn't come home. We did a Marg Monday, is kind of a tradition. So went out for Mexican and so a couple margaritas. I ended up getting a fajita burrito, which was very yummy, but a little higher on the calories. Could have been smarter with that. A little bit of poor decision making out of me on these meals, which we're ironing out and getting better with as we move forward into this week. So yeah, then came home and did our second cardio of the day. Moving on to Tuesday, which was today. I can remember what today was, I think. Today, the weather started being awful. It has rained genuinely nonstop all day. There's a road closure around me, flooding. Nothing terrible, but like, it's kind of nasty out. But we still did our outdoor cardio. It was warm enough where it felt really good to go outside and do some cardio in the rain. Ended up on my path. I felt like I got implanted into Turbo, the movie Turbo, just like little slugs moving around, which those guys were just chilling, crossing on the path, so I had to bob and weave and try to avoid them, and then get our cardio in for then. And then I'm thinking of doing one after I finish recording this. It's going to be dependent on the weather, and we'll be jumping into that. I might be able to update that on tomorrow's video, but nothing as of yet. And then for meals for today, I did one of my breakfast burritos, which was number 4 or 5 on those. I don't remember how many I've gone through. And then I was really craving burgers, so I ended up going to Target, making a quick run, because it's just right next to my apartment, and getting some lean ground beef, some healthy buns, which are a little higher in calories. I think they're 120 calories, but they have a lot of fiber in them, and fiber is something I'm trying to get into my diet more. To protect my tummy, and all everything that goes on there. Ended up also, there was a high protein cheesecake yogurt, 80 calories, 12 grams of protein. I usually go with the Oikos 000, but I wanted to try this one with a little bit of protein based granola in there. And then some fruits, and ended up, that was the meal for dinner, which was good on the macros, higher in protein, and very yummy, which I now have that meal prepped for a couple days as well. Threw a little turkey bacon on there before I forget about that. So yeah, that is everything up to this point. We are almost 30 minutes into this video of me going over all that. I'm not going to keep you here for much longer, but yeah, recap is all there. Going to be back to doing these regularly, fingers crossed, on a daily basis, knock on wood, and looking forward to continuing on this journey and finding that motivation that might have been lacking a little bit here. Tomorrow we will be doing our weigh-in for a week, whatever we are on. I want to say it's like 17 at this point, maybe 18. and get back. I'm pretty confident we're down weight still. I don't think the result's going to be great, obviously, with not eating amazing throughout these days and with just not. Sorry, video cut off. So like I was saying, without being into the gym as much as I'd like to and not eating as amazing as I could, I don't think we made crazy progress, but I'm feeling good, which is nice. I'm feeling better. Obviously, like I said, I started off this week feeling a little crappy, but hopefully feeling good to get back into the gym, get things going. Just need that little shock of motivation to give myself, which this is actually helping me do a good bit. A couple fitness videos dropped on my timeline of like weight loss and getting shredded. So those are jumping into the motivation mix as well. So super happy with all of that. But yeah, we'll wrap things up there. Over 30 minutes of a video. I think this is the longest video we've done on the channel. I might be mistaken. One of the earlier weight loss transformation videos might be longer than that because I know we did have some long ones to start things out. But yeah, we're back and we're looking good. I use we. Apologies for that. That's just kind of how I talk. When I'm talking to a camera and talking about myself, it feels weird saying I, which I know is correct and I should be, but I'm using we, so apologies with that. But as always, do better. Tomorrow, make a better version of yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing the progress you're making in the comments in your own transformations. It's been amazing to keep up with you, and I hope that more videos will mean more of those interactions, and make those hard decisions between today and tomorrow that tomorrow you're going to be happy with, and I'll see you in the next video.